Welcome to the Transparency Stars webinar for the Economic Development Award. This webinar is hosted by the Data Analysis and Transparency Division of the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts. This will be the fifth in a series of webinars dedicated to instructing applicants on the criteria and application process for the Comptroller's Transparency Stars program. Specifically, this video will cover the Economic Development Award application process. This webinar will cover the following items with regards to the Economic Development Transparency Star: general criteria for award submissions, economic development guidelines, the application process, and keeping your award page in good standing. The Economic Development Star requires 6 areas of evaluation: a dedicated web page specific to the award, a narrative summary of the data and information. This is usually done in table format, though a mixture of text and visuals is acceptable. At least 2 graphic representations of key information, which should be illustrative and clearly labeled. Any pertinent documentation for the award category, including audits, reports, bond election information, bids, and contracts for a period of the last 5 years. Downloadable data. This is interactive raw format information in Excel, CSV, or another tabular format. Note that PDFs are not acceptable for raw data. And lastly, any other pertinent information such as GASB statements, lookup tools, agreements, or other relevant information from the most recently completed fiscal year. Efforts to increase transparency in this area inform taxpayers about programs and incentives supported by their tax dollars that are designed to attract industry and investments, create jobs, and otherwise grow the economy. Economic Development Transparency Star criteria enhance existing comptroller economic development programming and resources aimed at local governments. This section should include an economic development summary, as well as the following items for tax abatements granted in the most recently completed fiscal year: number of tax abatements granted, estimated taxes abated in year 1 of agreements as total and per capita amounts, estimated taxes abated for life of agreements, number of jobs created or retained by agreements to date, up to the last day of the most recently completed fiscal year, and total capital investments received for agreements to date up to the last day of the most recently completed fiscal year. You must also provide a direct link to the Comptroller's Property Tax Abatement or Value Limitation database as applicable to your entity type. The type of information to include in the summary will differ depending on whether your entity is a local government, school district, or a special purpose district. You may wish to include additional data that provides context reflective of standards or conventions particular to your entity type. There is also an optional economic development summary form on our website. It's located in the summary section under each entity type. For the Economic Development Award, please note that certain criteria do not apply to your specific type of entity. If you are exempt from certain items or documentation, please state this clearly on the award page. You must post data visualizations showing 5-year time trends of the following as applicable: the number of tax abatements or value limitations agreements granted, the amount of taxes abated, the number of Chapter 380 or Chapter 381 agreements granted in the previous 5 fiscal year, and total amount of funds granted under these agreements in the previous 5 fiscal years. You may wish to include explanations or subsets of these trends in the visualizations or post additional visualizations that provide context reflective of standards or conventions particular to your entity type. See the sidebar on the right side of the Economic Development Guidelines page for templates you may choose to use to create required visualizations. The visualizations must be posted on the page itself and must be, like all the required information on the transparency page or section, easy to view and to interpret. The type of documents to be posted in this section will also vary depending on the type of entity and can include tax abatement agreements, value limitation agreements, Chapter 380 or 381 agreements, and economic development project or county assistance district project documents. Details such as project goals, entity, cost, and benefit must also be included for the EDC documents. For certain type of agreements, you may provide a link to the comptroller's database instead of posting the documents on your website. Regardless of the type of entity, these documents should be posted separately from audits and annual financial reports. The type of downloadable datasets required will vary depending on type of entity. These datasets should be made available for download in a tabular or spreadsheet format to aid in researching your entity. School districts should display a value limitation dataset containing items such as project names or goals, agreement holders, payments in lieu of taxes, first year of tax benefit, estimated total taxes foregone, and actual taxes foregone. Cities, counties, and special purpose districts should display a tax abatement dataset containing items such as project names and goals, recipients, years granted, estimated total taxes abated, and actual taxes abated. Additionally, cities and counties should display a Chapter 380 or 381 agreements dataset containing items such as project names and goals, recipients, years granted, promised funding from the city or county, and the actual funding from the city or county. Your transparency site should also include applicable GASB guidance documents such as Statement Number 77 regarding tax abatement disclosures, links to applicable sections within financial statements, and other documents regarding economic development activities, if available. Acceptable examples include, but are not limited to, non-annexation agreements and in-kind agreements. Cities also need to provide a link to the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts Economic Development Corporation Research Tool. This can be found in this section for cities on our Economic Development Guidelines webpage. Once you have gathered the required documents and other materials, you would need to create your designated award page and then submit a web link to our office through the online application form. Once this is completed, you will be contacted by a member of our team with any needed revisions or additions to your application. This contact will be in email form. From there, your application will undergo an administrative review by our Transparency Division staff and our Audit and Enforcement divisions before final approval. Additional materials applicants may find useful are available on the Economic Development Star page of our website on the right-hand side of the screen. These include a checklist, summary forms, templates for abatements granted and taxes abated, and templates for school districts on foregone property taxes and value limitations granted. These optional tools are meant to serve as supplemental assistance to the general guidelines. After you are awarded a Transparency Star, your page is subject to review by our analysts at any time to verify that you are keeping your award page up to the standard required by the Comptroller's Office. Your organization is ultimately responsible for keeping up with the guidelines and updating your page to remain in compliance. For questions or concerns regarding your application, please feel free to contact us at transparency.stars@cpa.texas.gov or by phone at 844-519-5676. You could also contact the Transparency Stars coordinator directly at the information shown on screen. Thank you very much for watching.